I'm living in Svalbard, where the Arctic climate, with its cold weather and strong winds, makes us wear warm clothes the whole year round. Here we prefer garments from sheep wool, alpaca, merino, and other natural fibers, because they're excellent at the most important thing, keeping the warmth. That's why when I was asked by HOBBII to review some of their yarn by my choice, I didn't hesitate at all and opted for wool. Here's a bag I received. I ordered not many different types, but those which looked attractive to me. I'm really curious to open the bag now and see what I've got. Here's my order: soft alpaca, Highland Wool, Alpaca Silk, France Wool, Evergreen, and Divina. Let us start reviewing the yarn. Soft alpaca is 100% alpaca wool yarn, and I like alpaca yarn, first of all, because it is soft, it is natural, and is always pleasant to use. This is a super fine yarn, where in 50 grams you get approximately 165 meters. The approximate gauge is 27 stitches in 10 centimeters if you use recommended needle size of 3 to 3.5 millimeters. I'm going to make a sample to see how would it be working with soft alpaca from HOBBII. Alpaca yarn is well known to be warm and soft, much softer than sheep wool, for example. I like using alpaca for knitting garments for kids, as it is gentle and not itchy at all. As you see, the sample looks very nice, and I honestly had the pure pleasure to knit with it, even if I'm not a fan of small size needles. You see that stitches are more or less even, and after blocking, alpaca opens up a bit better and has a slightly hairy texture. By the way, the yarn is also pretty light, which means that the end product will also be very light. This is actually one of the features I consider starting a new knitting project. Moreover, HOBBII has a big variety of vivid colors for soft alpaca, so we'll definitely go for this yarn in the future. Highly recommended. This yarn I've already been using before for my project Audrey dress. It is a 100% high-quality Peruvian wool and made from the fur of a special sheep breed from Peru. In 50 grams here we get 175 meters thread, and by using 3.5 to 4 mm needles we get pretty comfortable knitting tension, 22-24 stitches in 10 centimeters. Using this yarn is also very pleasant, pretty easy to knit, the thread glides smoothly and easy to control the tension. And the sample I got is very soft and airy, stitches are even. It is not as soft as alpaca, of course, but still soft enough for kids if you think about knitting sweaters, dresses and so on. It suits well for both structured knitting and color work. As with many other different yarn types, wool keeps you warm even when it is wet, so you will not lose any warmth while wearing garments produced from this yarn. The color range is not especially wide, but it is good enough. So my high recommendations. Alpaca Silk was also produced in Peru. Here you can see an interesting mix of 70% alpaca wool and 30% mulberry silk. In 50 grams here we get approximately 166 meters, and by using 3.5 needle size, we are expected to get about 27 stitches in 10 centimeters. It is a bit too thin for my taste, but I want to try it. By the way, if you ask yourself, what is mulberry silk? Pretty sure it doesn't make any sense to many. I also had to read a bit about it. Mulberry silk is the most expensive type of silk. It is made from spoon cocoons of silkworms that are feeding only on mulberry leaves. There is no harm to these worms, don't worry, they are living in comfortable conditions to be able to produce high-quality silk thread. This is the strongest natural fiber in the world that makes your future garment durable. Alpaca wool here makes this yarn warm and soft. I made this sample using 3mm needles and see what I got. It is so light and so soft, feels a bit heavy on the skin, but of course no itching at all. In contrast, feels like I want to have a cardigan from it. That is how it feels really. You can't recognize silk thread here, but you can see it glitters a bit. So that is silk. Amazing yarn, to be honest. I also want to try double thread. I have only one skein of these colors, so to have a double thread, I will try to get the end of it inside the skein. It is tricky, I know, takes some time to find it, so I need to get some thread from inside and try to see where the end is. A bit messy, but I will keep it loose, trying not to get it too entangled and not get knots. So it will work out, but just need to be careful here. You see that sample of double thread alpaca silk also looks good. It is very simple and easy to knit and easy to control the yarn, so I got pretty even stitches without any struggles. And a slight glitter here. Still, it weighs nothing. There are not many colors to your choice, unfortunately, therefore maybe not the best one for color work, even if it's still an option. But structured knitting will definitely look good on it. Here's a friend's wool yarn made in Turkey that consists of 4 threads spun together. That is 100% wool, and in 50 grams we get 100 meters. And there are 2 options of recommended needle sizes, as you see. I would go for 4.5 millimeters needles, so I would guess it is the optimal size for this weight. Here's my sample and I do really like it. The knitting process goes very smoothly, very even, as you see stitch to stitch, pretty consistent and nice looking. For me it means that it will be perfect for color work especially, but surely structured knitting will look clear too. It is relatively soft, as much as 100% wool could be, not hairy, not itchy, just high quality wool as it should be. If I had to rate it, I would give it 5 out of 5. Warm, soft, easy to knit, beautiful colors and good price for such quality. I had a really hard time choosing colors as HOBBII offers such a great color palette. Just look at these vivid colors. Must be fun to do color work. I think I need to try to make some patterns for this yarn for kids' garment in the future. Another wool yarn. The wool itself comes from South America, but the yarn is produced in Italy. It is 100% high-quality organic wool. It is basically merino wool, therefore very soft, and moreover, it can be used even for the smallest babies. Merino wool doesn't cause any allergic reactions at all. The yarn is so thin, in 50 grams we get 230 meters. Recommended to use 3mm needles to reach 28 stitches in 10 centimeters, but I think I will use here 2mm needles to make a sample. Evergreen yarn feels more like merino wool, not like alpaca wool, but it is light. Not every merino wool can claim to be light, but this one actually can. By the way, this yarn has a certificate of a global organic textile standard, so if you keep in mind ecological and social responsibilities, this yarn is for you. There's a strict and high demand for each step of production of this yarn. For this one, I will also make double thread sample, as it's a bit boring for me to knit such thin thread. Let us see where the end is hidden. I hope it will be a bit easier now, as the skin is spun differently. Here we are. Let's go for 4.5mm needles and make one more sample. Here you can see the result. I'm satisfied with it. I should admit that it's a nice yarn and fortunately very easy to knit too. This is a yarn to choose for future knitwear, even if the color choice is relatively limited. This one is the only yarn among the others I ordered that contains synthetic fibers. As you see, here is 65% of baby alpaca, 10% of merino wool and 25% of polyamide. Yarn is very soft and pleasant to touch and feel on the skin. Basically, natural fibers here are kept together by polyamide wire that is tube-shaped, as you can clearly see here. Therefore, it gives air to the yarn and makes it so soft and fluffy. In 50 grams, I get 150 meters, so you can see it is pretty light. And I recommended using needles from 4 to 5.5 millimeters. So let me see how would it be. I take needles 4.5 millimeters and start making a sample. To be honest, I think I'm really unfamiliar with this kind of yarn. It feels that the thread doesn't glide so smoothly as with natural fibers, so I have some problems controlling the tension, but besides it, feels pretty good. Here you can see I made a sample that shows clearly what I meant. As you see, my stitches are not completely even, some of them over tightened, some a bit loose, looks a bit messy to my taste. So if you normally have such problem working with synthetic yarn, it's not your fault, as synthetic yarns tend to behave this way. They are more demanding to skills in general and to the ability to control the thread. But anyway, I have never had such problems with natural fibers. Natural fibers are normally very forgiving to your knitting skills. But anyway, the sample is almost weightless and so soft you cannot imagine. So I would use it for something such as structure knitted sweater or cardigan, and maybe use it for some garments with embroidery, or some big projects such as a blanket, as it doesn't weigh anything and seems to be pretty warm. This yarn is definitely worth trying, but just be aware that it's a bit demanding too. So let us sum up. I've tested 6 different yarns and I'm pleasantly surprised with the quality. Before I wouldn't think much about HOBBII yarn as an option, but now I definitely will consider these yarns I mentioned today for my projects. You can go and check yourself the website, check what else HOBBII has to offer, and there's a huge choice. I've just covered a tiny piece of the whole online store. Good thing is that HOBBII also has a lot of patterns available and you can find them right here on the yarn page on the tab. Additionally, other honest reviews and pictures of projects other customers have made. If you check the website regularly, you will see that HOBBII is good at running sales and has good prices for buying packs of the same yarn. There's also a point system, so you get points after every purchase that you can use for buying some accessories and some yarn later on using these points. HOBBII is not only a shop, but a huge community of knitters. If you sign up for HOBBII Plus, you will get a huge range of different options, including even more free patterns, discounts, more points, and so on. If you're an addicted knitter like me, it's definitely worth trying. And don't forget to try out Hobby Bingo, the lottery with plenty of prizes. Thanks for watching. I hope you got some useful information from me. I hope your knitting horizons have been widened and you had a great time exploring new yarn. See you next video.